What is good, everyone? Ben Deal down here in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the Expand podcast. I'm super excited to bring a great friend of mine, Jim Morris, out of Nashville, Tennessee, to join us today. Jim is a husband, father, realtor, speaker, and he is the owner of Impact Social Events in Nashville. He's a top producer. He is a guy that gets it done. I'm super excited to have you on our show today, Jim. Welcome.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I admire our friendship and I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit of insight today with you and your people. So thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jim is going to be joining us. He is coming down from Nashville along with Coach Michael Burt on June 20th to be with us in the room. And Jim has got some incredible insight, wisdom, just in general about mindset, philosophy, how to live your best life, radiate positivity. And he's an expert in the real estate space. So, Jim, if you could just share a little bit about, because the room that we're going to be in for Expand is going to be filled with real estate agents and investors. Could you just share a little bit about your journey into real estate, how you got into it?
Yeah, totally. Would love to. So I bought a house, just like most of the Americans out here in our lovely country. And what I realized was that first house is actually an investment. It's not just I'm a first-time homeowner, right? And as I've navigated that process, I closed on this home and didn't know what happened. Like
Mm.
I just remember going to closing. I don't remember an inspection, going to the property after the first showing. And part of me was like, okay, I need to learn this because I'm going to invest in real estate,
Mm.
right? So for me, I had a poor experience with an agent and knew that I'd be around real estate. So I decided to educate myself on it. And then I realized, wow, I don't want this to happen to anybody I know in my community, my friends, things like that. So how can I help? How can I advise and make sure that the community and people are truly getting taken care of when purchasing a home from a luxury standpoint? I came from the hospitality industry. So for me, I really wanted to bring a new presence to the real estate market and really make sure people were protected when they buy their home and there's a plan around that asset, right? That's my biggest thing is what are you going to do in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years? And how does this real estate asset work for you or potentially work against you as an expense? And that conversation never happened for me. I
Mm.
just lucked out by buying a great asset that looked good and was in good condition. But the contrary, it could have been a lot worse. And once I saw that vision of, wow, I kind of skated through this, I really just wanted to help people. So for me, it started as an investment opportunity, and then I transitioned to just helping people in our community.
Mm. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think what I'm hearing you say too, you expanded kind of your focus of what your experience was. How can I make this a better experience for my community, for the people, and how you really want to serve them.
Yes, 100%. I want to expand my experience and help someone that potentially was going through something similar. And how do I do that? Well, I learn from my experience and then make sure I can serve that person so they don't have to go through what I potentially would have gone through. So
Yeah.
yes, I like to expand to help communities. I like to expand my mind and my experiences because I do know based on the last 5 years of doing this that I can help people. And that's my biggest passion in this world.
Mm. Yeah, that's so good. And I think, when we get into real estate originally or initially, there's a lot of energy, excitement, there's the opportunity. One of the things I'm interested to hear about is, has there been a moment in time where you look back, whether it's in your real estate career or otherwise, where there was a moment where you've had this real expansion that's happened after that, where you're like, hey, I look back to this one point in time, everything changed since then. Have you had an expansion moment like that?
I did. My expansion moment relates to um the outcome. So for instance, I started in real estate. First year I sold 50 houses. right? Like crazy, just obnoxious. Not a lot of people do it, but I surrounded myself and built a community, and I did it. And after that first year, I was so vested and focused on the outcome, and that outcome being cash, right? And closing deals. So for me, going through that, I realized that I truly wanted to expand the reasoning for doing that and transacting real estate. So my biggest moment of clarity when it comes to real estate was truly understanding the fact that I had to lose myself a little bit to find myself. And
Mm.
what I mean by that is, you know, I was working for the commission and I was cutting corners when it comes to service. And if you heard what I said originally, why I got into this was because I wanted to bring luxury level service to my clients. So for me, I had to go through a little bit of a rough patch and really expand my mind and my heart, right? Because I was doing this with a lot of heart. And, as you know, Ben, you're very successful. Once you start cashing 20, 30, $40,000 checks, 3, 4 months, you really can fall into this money driven outcome, and you really lose why you're doing this and for what reasons. So that was a couple of years ago, man. I went through that, and it really has expanded my focus and mindset and really kind of brought me back to why I'm doing it and how I do it.
Yeah, and when you go back and think about that experience and then kind of the interplay between the mind and the heart, how do you kind of look at the importance of your mindset and then kind of that heart drive, that kind of like servant style luxury service that you're looking to provide? Like, how do you balance that out between the heart and the mind, or do you think one is more important than the other?
I think, to truly get up and give it your all, there has to be some heart in it, you know? And at the end of the day, you're not going to go above and beyond every opportunity that you can if there's not a piece of your heart in what you do, right? And things get boring, things get um same old thing you're doing. It's just another deal, and it's just another house. So I think for me, I really went through a period of like, okay, this is amazing, but how can I transition this and kind of double down on what my passion and purpose is? And I think that passion and purpose relates to the heart, you know? So for me, the mind was going crazy on logic and dollars and things like that. And that's important, right? We are creatures of value. We should be getting paid for our service. We should, especially when you pour everything into it. And Ben, we make sacrifices, right? You've got a beautiful family. I just had a beautiful baby. And we're out here doing these things to help and serve these others. But if you just use just logic would say, I want to be home every night, weekend, not go to events, not be in the room. And the reality of it is, it's okay to do those things and understand the logic, but the heart pushes me to do that. And when your significant other understands that and they understand why you do things, it's that relationship morphs into a partnership and true understanding. So for me, that was really a big moment for me, especially with my wife, and especially with adding a new family member to the crew over here, the Morris family of three now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what these seasons of sacrifice, and it's really an investment, like you're saying, of time, energy, effort, finances. Um, your experience, I mean, you're a through and through entrepreneur, been in the real estate space, service industry, now you put on your own events and interactions for people to gather. What do you really find as, or how do you contextualize like making that investment? Because nobody requires us as an entrepreneur or a real estate agent or an investor, to go to any events, to spend any money. How do you look at investment through your mind, through your heart, through your eyes, for your business?
So for me, you know, you go to school till 12th grade, you go to college for 4 years, right? And then you just stop educating yourself. And that just doesn't make sense, right? So for me, the investment to educate and work on professional development truly is an investment. It's not a cost to me,
Mhm.
right? And last year I spent $65,000 on personal development, and I am light years ahead of where I was 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 12 months ago. And you have to put yourself in the proximity. You have to engage and try things, and you have to keep pushing and always upgrade your brain and your mind, because at the end of the day, your mind is what's going to make you or break you.
Mhm.
And I mean, that we have great conversations about mindset, and we're always passing nuggets and sharing reels and videos and, all that. So for me, it's a no-brainer almost. And just because society doesn't create this opportunity like grade school and high school and push people into it, after college and things like that, that doesn't mean you shouldn't continue it. It just means that you have to own it, understand it, and it's your responsibility to continue that growth.
Yeah. And so what was the switch for you? Because I find that even with the agents that I get to work with, or entrepreneurs or people that you see in the journey, people that want to come into the real estate world, what have you found it's really important for, kind of, even like coach talks about, flipping that switch to be like, hey, there's a different perspective I need to have about this, the way I'm thinking about my time, my money, and my business.
So I would say for me, I was in a position where I just didn't feel like I was continuously learning, right? And I wanted to level up and put myself in a position where I knew, okay, in 2 weeks, I'm going to this event and I'm going to learn some great stuff. In 3 weeks, I'm going to this, I'm going to that event, right? And for me specifically, you know, to cut those checks, it was tough because I wasn't doing it prior, right? But once you just get a taste of it and you see the gains and you see how your brain starts morphing, and for me, a lot of it was logic, right? I just wasn't privy to that information. So as I was learning and growing, I'm like, this makes total sense. And I wholeheartedly believe that what I'm learning, I just didn't know how to formulate it. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the friendships, right? I mean, you and I are a perfect example. We never would have met each other and collaborated and helped each other if we didn't go to something that was professional development for our careers and our paths. And it's just amazing. Look at us now. We're on a podcast. I'm speaking at your event. It's just an amazing relationship. So for me, understanding that you get professional development, but you also have amazing networking opportunities and the chance to really grow with like-minded folks in these communities, and it doesn't need to be Nashville, right? We're on a Zoom right now. You're in Houston, I'm in Nashville. We can text, we can call, we can Zoom. So, I mean, the connectivity in this world is just amazing. And I think you need to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, like, I believe we're coming into a season where, even with your events business, if you want to talk a little bit about that, the importance of creating community and bringing people together, because just like you had shared, if it wasn't for an event, we would have not had the opportunity to connect. So, with your events business that you have going on, how is that part of the mix? How important is that to what you do?
That is the sole reason. So I started an event company in 2020. I owned another business. It was an amazing business. Did it for about a year. Left the corporate world and then jumped into real estate and was going to run this business. So for me, throughout that process, I realized during COVID that no one was connecting and the community was dead.
Mm,
And I wanted to get entrepreneurs together and really be able to help them, because I knew it was us against the big box stores, right? Your Walmarts, your Lowe's, things like that. And I just really wanted to help people and watch them beat the system against the big box companies. So the company was founded and started truly to just help and connect and bring the community together so we all didn't lose everything we built over the last prior years. Now you fast forward to 2023 today, and I'm throwing a conference for 500 people. And the sole purpose throughout this is really to bring the community together and to help and educate folks, because I was an entrepreneur and I was in a position where I didn't know what to do and I wanted to give up. And there's days, Ben, where I still want to give up and just say, screw it, right? But you need those positive people around you. You need those skill sets and knowledge to apply, but you have to learn those first when you're in those situations. So for me, this whole company is based around Impact Social Events, is based around bringing the community together and helping people achieve their goals through connectivity and networking and education and personal development. So
Yeah.
it's been an amazing journey over the last couple of years, and I'm more fired up and excited about this company than I ever was. 6 months ago, I was thinking about folding it up and putting it in a box and not looking at it. I was even thinking about not re-registering my LLC in 23. But what allowed me to get back to the basics and the true reason why I do it is me really sitting and understanding the why behind it, of the whole reason. It's not about Jim Morris.
Mm-hmm.
Impact Social Events is not about Jim Morris. Impact Social Events is about the community and about helping people.
That's
So
so
yeah, man, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. No, it's so good, because I know there's just I continue to feel and know that the opportunities to get together in rooms just like you host, like what we're gonna have here in Houston, like I don't know what the outcome's gonna be. I'm just excited about the potential for what can happen. So we can start hearing those stories of, hey man, I came to your event, June 20th in Houston, and then we'll see what happens. There's that one connection, that one breakthrough, that one nugget, that one piece of wisdom, insight, something that will hit somebody, their heart, their mind, their business, that will create this crazy kind of opportunity. Do you have anything like that comes to mind, whether it's yourself or somebody that's been to one of your events where there's just been kind of that crazy that expansion moment, connection, something that is just kind of happened at one of your events and then radically changed the trajectory of someone's life or yours?
100%. So first thing I want to say is your event will do that, and it won't just be one person. I promise you that. I'll look you right in the eye and say, I guarantee, based on, I know you, I know what you're doing. We've had a lot of conversations about the event. This will change lives. Like the people that come to your event on June 20th in Houston, lives will be changed. So you asked me about my events and an example. So specifically, I had an event last night, and I talked to two people, and not throughout the event, but two people that I'm going to bring up now. And one of them was thinking about quitting. They're thinking about not going forward with entrepreneurship and going back to the corporate world. And as I navigated that conversation, I asked a lot of questions. And at the end, I said, you don't want to go to the corporate world, do you? And she said, no. And I said, is that something that is going to cause you distress, anxiety, and really, like, are you going to wake up in a month, a year, and think, wow, I made the worst decision of my life. This is not what I wanted to do, and I hate this. And she said, yeah. So I connected her with someone that has gone through this that I knew at the event, and they had an amazing conversation. I got a text message this morning that she is more motivated, more inspired, and she is not giving up. And she is going to hit the pavement running, and she's going to be working all weekend and on Memorial Day to catch up, because she was feeling tired and behind, right? So that's one example. The other example is I spoke to someone, and the event ended. We stayed after, we chatted a little bit, and then I connected them with someone, and now they're having a lunch meeting today and potentially joining their companies in partnership. So, I mean, this is all because, and the best part about this, the two people that I'm talking about, I never met before last night. They're not in my sphere. They're not in my inner circle. One person found me randomly online, and one person a buddy said, you need to go to this if you're free. Do not miss it. So, I mean, that is two people I didn't know 48 hours ago. And now, as of this morning, you know, they're taking massive action. They're reinvigorated. They're inspired. They're motivated. And man, I just hope they keep on moving forward.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So similar to how you helped that person, that was on that brink of like giving up, quitting. What else do you kind of find, in our journey? Because, whether it's entrepreneurship, real estate, there can be dry seasons, there can be moments of questioning, doubt. What do you find is kind of your best practices to get through those moments of like, I'm going to throw it in? Like, what do you kind of do to work through those moments?
I think preparation causes confidence, and you need confidence in those seasons.
Mm,
I also think logically, we need to understand as humans that life is peaks and valleys, right? And if you notice, how many times am I going down, right? There is a baseline of valleys, and those valleys are never going to stop no matter what you do. Whether you're a billionaire, whether you own 30 companies, you own known companies, and you're a W-2 employee, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what your financial and monetary status is. The fact of the matter is there is going to be continuous failures in life. Things aren't going to be all roses, and life's tough and hard. And once you realize that, and once you understand it and get over the fact that perfection is not real, nothing's perfect.
mm, mhm.
Once you've really ingrained that, you see the seasons and you're kind of just okay with it, but you've got to have that preparation and put in that work, because you won't have the confidence to get through that season, to get
Mm,
up to that other peak, you know? And one of my favorite sayings are, peaks inspire us and valleys mature us,
mm.
right? So once you go through some valleys, you're going to be mature enough to realize the valleys are going to always keep coming. And you just need to stay the course, stay in your own lane, run your own race at your own pace. And that, for me, has been unbelievable. I mean, has changed my life, my perspective, and my level of happiness, man.
Mhm.
Um, I was telling someone yesterday, I'm the happiest I've ever been. And they're like, Jim, you're throwing this conference and you're funding it yourself, and I heard you had some trouble with a marketing company you were going to use, and I all this stuff's going on, and you're telling me you're the happiest you've ever been. And I'm like, dude, it's just another peak and valley, brother.
Mhm.
Like, that's it, right? We're going to get back to the top. Might be in a low moment of in that valley. So sorry to drag that one out, but
Oh,
as you
that's
can
good,
probably see,
man.
I'm
No,
pretty
and I but
passionate
I
about
but I
it.
think that's good. I mean, just from a mindset and perspective, whether it's real estate, business, otherwise, I mean, so we've got the peaks and valleys, and I know one of my good friends, he talks about progress, and even we talked about that before we hopped on. It was like, hey, let's just continue to make sure, even though we've got the peaks and valleys, let's make sure it's a continual upward trajectory, because it's not going to be that straight line or a hockey stick going up. Like, there's still going to be those moments, but we want to make sure that we're continuing to increase and make progress. We're not taking steps back or like regressing our trend and trajectory. So, yeah, so powerful, man.
I
What,
love what
so,
you said about, sorry, I love what you said about this, because, dude, until a year ago, for some reason, I had this picture in my mind that life goes like this, and it doesn't. It goes like this.
yeah.
So I love that you did that, because literally about a year ago, I finally realized it, and it's super important.
Yeah. And I think in just like you were sharing, and even the people that you helped last night, it's just having that mindset to understand, hey, we're going to come up against challenges. They're going to come through, they're going to hit us. And it's about how we're going to navigate and work through those. And I think that's why, having a community, having a relationship, grateful for our friendship, and being in a community of people that can provide you with the support. You've got a resource you can go to, you've got inspiration you can gather, you've got something that can bring you back. because I know whenever we start getting off into those moments of isolation, the more doubt we start going into this other crazy cycle, where you're down in the valley kind of ruminating for too long. And, we just want to keep that trajectory back. But Jim, so real quick, like so this event you're coming down to, you're spending your time, money, coming down to speak with us. Super excited to have you join us. We one of the top real estate agents, investors that are in the greater Nashville area. What does expand mean to you, and why is expansion important?
Expand to me means opening up the possibility for growth, right? So, how do you expand? And I think that's different for everybody, but you crush it and kill it when you relate to the mind, body, and what was it? The soul, mind, body, business.
Yep. Business mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So same thing, but you hit all those categories. So for me, expansion is, how do I understand those categories, realize the importance of those categories, and then how do I elaborate and grow throughout that? And I think it starts with identifying, right? How do you identify what's important within those different categories? And how do you identify where you want to go within those categories? And once you know where you're at and where you're going, then you can create a plan to connect those two dots. So for me, expand means getting around the right people, getting in rooms, getting proximity with people doing things that attract you, that you like, and really taking it in, absorbing it, and figuring out how you can apply that to get from your start point to your finish line. And at the end of the day, once you get here, it's never finished, right? We just draw another line, because expansion should never stop, right? If you're not growing, in my mind, you're dying. And I don't want to die. I want to stay around as long as I possibly can. I told my wife the other night, I'm like, 140, you're not getting rid of me until 140. I'm making it to the 140. So how do you do that? You continue using your mind, you continue using your body, your heart, your soul, you work your business, and you just keep that growth.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. And hey, I'm grateful for your time. I know you got a lot going on, and I want to invite you all to come out and join us. Meet Jim, be in the room. He's going to be down here from Nashville, and on June 20th, go to expandhouston.com, grab your tickets. They're selling out. Got a few left, but take this opportunity to meet Jim. And Jim, if anybody wants to reach out to you, follow you on your socials, where's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, you can search me on Instagram, The Real Jim Morris on LinkedIn, on YouTube, The Real Jim Morris Show. So I would love to chat, send me a message, DM. I'd love to connect and see how we can help and collaborate.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, Jim, thank you so much, man. Heart of service. Excited to have you join us down here in Houston, and we will see you soon.